Hey YouTube, and thank you for watching Junkworks DIY Garage. Well, what you're looking at is a whole mess of wires. Here's the problem. In my Jeep I have the similar wiring harness to this as in there. But one of the wires is not functioning correctly, so one of my blinker and brake lights is not working. So I could take this tester, shove this in here, put it on a wire up here, and put it on the ohm setting here where you hear a noise. And basically all that shows me is that, say we have a wire here, we think there might be a break in the wire here, and we have a wire here. This one obviously is working. From here to here there's no breaks. Now if somehow you end up with a break, say it's here, then you know, okay, somewhere between here and here there is no power going through. So what I need to do is, first of all, I'm going to check these, and let's see, this is the green one, so I have power there. This is the yellow one. I'm going to put this closer so maybe you can hopefully hear the beeping. So yellow one here, find the yellow one here. Okay, we got connection there. Green one here, green one here. We got connection there. So now I know that this wiring harness works. Now this is a full wiring harness for one of those Harbor Freight trailers. It's a spare one I have. So that is functioning, that I didn't use any of it because I was rewiring the trailer a different way. But anyway, here's my point here, is that I want to make sure that these all work. Now I could cut this off, which I'm just going to do that. Hold on. So I've kind of gone up under there and looked, and it's basically the same thing, only it's a much bigger, this part's much bigger. But regardless, it's even the U-Haul one too. I am going to just go ahead and cut this off, probably somewhere in the middle. So actually at some point, even though every time you cut into these things and splice into these things, you cause a point of corrosion, or where corrosion can start getting in. But I can use this, splice this into here if I need to, if this goes bad or something on another rig. But regardless, my plan is, since everything is working, and I know I can make it work, I can make the trailer work if I mess with the wires enough. And what it is this section here is so corroded in here that one of them is pretty much all but working. Now here's my other thing. I can sit here with the tester, and this was what was confusing me, is I could get it to work on my car but couldn't get it to work when I plugged the trailer in. But the trailer seemed to be functioning right, and this seemed to be functioning right in the car. Well, what I was doing is I was putting a tester down in there and testing stuff. So I had to make it so I could do this a little easier. So we got green here. I find the green one here, and then I'm kind of having problems, so we'll see. This might not work, but I can make it work by sticking this in here, even though it doesn't go. I think I'm just hitting the back, and it might not go all the way to the back the way this socket works, which could be part of the problem with the other one. But anyway, I can make it work here, and I can go along, and I could test all of these, and if I hit the right spot, it's gonna go. Now here was my problem. When I plugged the trailer in, let's see here, when I plugged the trailer in, the connections weren't connecting very well. Boy, this is tight. So when I plugged the trailer in, the connections just weren't connecting because of the corrosion on the inside of this. So that is where I'm going to, with this one, let's start with, let's see here. Is it green to green, yellow to yellow, brown to brown, and white to white? So that is all correct. I'm going to go here, and we're starting with the green one. And if I get tone in here, that means that that plug is working well. We got yellow. That plug is working, at least right now anyway. Brown. Oop, wrong one. That one is working. Now white. That one is working. So now I know that with a plug plugged into this, this will work. I'm going to go take the one off my Jeep, splice this one in. Now, you might notice all my connections are right here. What I'm going to do is I'm butt connecting. I don't solder a lot on vehicles. There's all kinds of back and forth on solder and using butt connectors and using this and using that. All I know is do not, and I mean on anywhere of a car, unless you're doing it just for testing, do not use the acorn nut wire tie things. That is not, it's not a good idea. Don't do it. Anyway, so I decided to show you this kind of on here, the way I decided to do this here. And it's 6 1/2 dozen how you want to do it, whatever you want to do. But now I can have one here, put a butt connector here, a butt connector here, butt connector here, and another one up here. And that way, when you go to tape all this up and put wire loom over it, you'll never know it was there, pretty much. Alright, well there you go. We're going to duct tape that up and throw it underneath there. No, that is not how you do it. This is for testing, because I will admit I cut these down and started doing this and then realized I'm not positive what colors these are. And I cut the end off here and I can kind of see what these are, but they're all kind of a brown with a small colored wire, and these are so dirty it's really hard. I think I have it figured out, but now I do need to do some testing. So therefore, that's what the acorn nuts, wire nuts, whatever you want to call them, are for. And what I'm hoping is I can find a good ground. That's the hardest part, is finding a good ground. And I just got one of these Harbor Freight cheapy light goes off when the power hits it kind of thing. So we're going to see if we get anything here, and it should be, I got the left flasher on, so technically it should be this one, and I don't know, that's the hard part, is I don't think I got a good enough ground here. I was able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I hooked to the white one, which white in this case is ground. Then I got the left rear blinker on here, which should be yellow according to the stuff on here. Hook that there, and we got a bit of a blink. It's not great. There we go. Which probably means it could, it's getting a little brighter. That could just be this bulb, is the old cheapy bulb. But anyway, so that is correct. I can put those two together. But while I'm here, I might as well check all the rest of the things. The brake lights, the other blinker light, the emergency flashers. Make sure everything's working. And now I know that that is working correctly. I also know, because this is the very end of the line of the wires here, that my ground is working correctly. So I'm happy with, I got 2 of them tested. I'm going to go test the rest of them. You don't need to see how I, you know, turn a blinker on and touch this to here every single time. But hopefully you can see that it's working still. Alright, I'm going to go do that. So here's the deal. I'm going to kind of show you what these are. You got your green on this one anyways. Colors may vary depending on these, but they're usually green, yellow, brown, and white. But it may vary. But the green one here is your right signal light. The yellow is your left signal light. And then the one I always forget is running lights, which is the brown one right here. Which I need to get that in there. Okay. And as you can see, I got running lights there. I also check my brake lights. which I put a 2x4 between the seat and the brake, and that should make both of these, when the brakes are on, both your turn signal lights will come on. It just sends power to both of them. So that is how these particular ones work. And then your white is ground, and ground, got to have ground to make things work. If your ground's not, your ground is almost more important than everything else. I've said that before. And I know I have a good ground because that's what I was testing with. So, well, I'm sitting here doing the wiring on here, so I thought I'd throw something else in here. I did a video on these heat shrink tubes here, and I thought they were, for the price, pretty good deal, but turns out they are just way too short, and I don't know what it costs for other ones. I'm going to use these up best I can. So I've come up with a way of doing half of one here, then I overlap. So I end up using 2 on each one just to get enough. And I don't know maybe if that was their plan with the way they made these so short, but it works pretty good. It's not probably, you know, as watertight, I suppose, but really it's no worse than what'll get in the ends. So I think that'll work pretty well for these, and then at some point I'll find out what longer ones cost. And if they're stupid expensive, then I'll just use these like this. Because I started with this one here and then realized, oh, that doesn't work, I forgot. Because you just can't get it over the top. They aren't long enough to go over the top of these. Especially these ones that have the heat shrink on them. So that is what I'm doing. I am putting the butt connectors on, heat shrinking those. Then taking and heat shrinking one on one side and heat shrinking another one of these on the other side, and then on top of that I'm going to go over this whole thing with electrical tape. Alright, and as you can see, most of this all the way down is pretty bump free. You can hardly tell there's anything going on here. Down at the end I got my yellow wire was just a little bit too long. I didn't get my splice quite in the right place up here, I guess, when I did it, so I ended up with a little extra yellow, but you know, better than a big bundle right here. So I'm going to run this up along in here, wire tie stuff up so it's nice and neat. And then right here, I don't know if you can see that, there is the bracket that this actually came, the old one came out of here, so I'm hoping the new one should, in theory, pop in there. The handy dandy Leatherman, we'll see if we can't pop this in here. There we go. And that seems pretty darn good. I'm happy with that. That is exactly the same one that came out of it. Happened to just have one. So it worked out well for me. If not, they make brackets that you can put yours in, or buy ones that come with brackets. It's whatever you can find, and really, like most people, you could wire tie it up here and let it just hang down. But I tend to find I have had problems in the past where I've ripped them out of the back end of my rigs or drug them across things. And like this one actually has been drug. You can tell there's a little bit of the rubber missing up in this area, but it's functioning. It'll function fine. Looks good enough. Just need to wire tie that up in there, and we'll be on our way with some trailers again, I hope. I think I'm going to call that a video. There's a few tips and tricks. Not really an exact how you should do this. Really, if you're doing this, you should buy the whole kit, kind of like what I started out with, and wire it up right into your tail lights. Well, this one's already been done that way, and I'd rather have corrosion problems in this piece that I can replace than redo what's in my tail lights, although I think I'm going to have to redo that anyway later on down the road because I didn't do a very good job. And I have a video on that somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but regardless, you know, I'd rather deal with this than actually have to deal with the tail lights right now, especially, and make more splices into them. Alright, thanks for watching Junkworks DIY Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and master none. You all have a good one.